From about 2021 to 2024, I had everything. I accomplished everything I thought I wanted to. By 24, I had locked down a six-figure software engineering job. By 27, I was making about 12 grand a month at a big Fortune 500 company. I had no debt. I was investing heavily. I was chasing everything people told me to chase. And the job I had was very cushy. I didn't even have to work very hard to make that type of money each and every month. And on paper, I really had it made. But deep down, I felt nothing. I'd stare at investment metrics going up on my screen, and I was working on projects I didn't care about, and I always thought to myself, why am I doing this? This is so soul-crushingly boring. I'm a white guy named Matt who's writing code for an insurance company in Wisconsin. I mean, what kind of story is that? I was missing something and I didn't feel fulfilled. I had money, I had stability, I even had the praise of society for working for a big and respected company. And I had all of this, but I didn't have meaning. So I did something a lot of people would consider stupid. I walked away from a $140,000 a year job to chase something that I couldn't even explain. Purpose, freedom, maybe I was even chasing struggle itself. I really didn't know at the time. I quit without much of a concrete plan. I was just taking a bet on myself that I would figure something out eventually. And it turned out to be the best decision I've ever made. And yeah, it's been hard. It has not been easy at all. But in today's video, I'm going to discuss why I don't regret this decision. Many people question me to this day. People in my real life, definitely people in my YouTube comments, and just looking through these comments and just hearing what people say, people are bringing up some really good points. They say things like, he's not even making that much money, like he's making a couple grand a month. This is a huge pay cut for him. Why would he do this? He should have stayed with the 9 to 5. He made a big mistake. So today, I'm going to respond to this, and we've got a more vulnerable video where I'm going to dive into why I decided to quit my high-paying job and why I, at many times in my life, have struggled to find meaning and purpose. So hopefully some of you can resonate with this. If you're someone who's felt that same emptiness when you're at work, when you're asking yourself, is this all there is? That's that voice in the back of your head saying that. You're not alone, and this video is for you. For most of my life, I bought into what society expected from me. I tried hard in high school, I got good grades, and I went to a good university. Then I got a job and I worked hard. I got the promotions. I switched jobs a few times and had salary bumps. I learned a lot, saved a lot of money. And the jobs gave me a lot, actually. Contrary to what you'd think, I do recommend people get a normal job for a little bit. And I spent most of my 20s grinding the corporate ladder. And this had a lot of benefits. I've met a ton of people. I gained really valuable skills in the tech world. I was making good money. I was saving and investing money. And eventually I got to a phenomenal situation to be in during your mid-20s. I had $12,000 a month coming in very consistently. And on paper, I thought I made it. And even at the time, I acknowledged that this was many people's dream situation to be in, and I got there only in my 20s. It gave me everything besides meaning, and I almost feel guilty for not liking the situation I was in because it really was a blessing. But here's the reality. I owned nothing that I was working on. My days were dictated by someone else. I made the same amount of money per month regardless of anything I actually did that month. If I went super try hard and did a lot of work, or if I completely slacked off, the money would be the same. Looking at numbers going up on a screen, aka just my investments accumulating, was not making me happier anymore. I was not working on any projects that I found interesting. A lot of my day was spent in meetings that were forced, they were fake. We were talking about strategic objectives, our year-long KPIs, my yearly performance goals, and all the dumb corporate jargon. And I just had no hunger anymore. I didn't have the drive to be special that I knew I used to have. And I had no passion for the projects I was working on. And this was a problem because in the past, I know what I can accomplish when I'm passionate about something. And most importantly, I wasn't really that happy. It didn't matter how much money I was making at that point. Here's the thing. If you're not happy making 70 grand, you're probably not going to be happy making 140 grand. If you're not happy with that, you're probably not going to be happy making 300, 500, even $1 million. Like sometimes very wealthy people are the least happy. For those listening to this who've been in a situation where you have a high income, you can probably relate to this, but once you have enough money to live comfortably and cover your expenses and have peace of mind, more money doesn't really do much more for your happiness. You need to have a purpose at that point. And eventually I got to a point where I was like, do I want to grind for more of this? I mean, now I had the skills, I had the money. I just didn't really have the freedom. I never had the reason to quit, I guess you could say. And I think that's a big problem that a lot of people our age get is the golden handcuffs, where you're presented with a comfortable and really chill situation. Like it's not phenomenal. It's not exactly what you want, but it's good enough to stay in, and that just kind of lulls you to sleep. And full transparency, I never really considered quitting as an option for a really long time. It was a process to accept that. That was until 2023 and 2024. I believe all of us are called to adventure. And for me, I needed a woman and the prospect of having a family to push me over the edge into adventure and leaving my situation. For others of us, your call to adventure might come in a different way, maybe even watching some of my videos. But for me, it was my relationship. The perfect storm in my life allowed me to quit my job. I needed to move to continue to be with the woman of my dreams. And before that, I started gaining some traction on YouTube to at least give me something to try out for when I quit. And going into this, I was basically left without an option. I had to become an entrepreneur to continue my relationship. And to be honest, I'm not sure I ever would have left my really comfortable situation without that reason. This reason, my lady, we actually just got engaged. I'm gonna just sneak this announcement in there, and it's been really excited about that, excited to take the next chapter and building something in our lives. But to be with her, I had to leave my comfortable life behind. The cost of comfort was becoming too much for me. So these were really the two things that sent me over the edge to leave my job and embrace the life of the unknown. It was her and the fact that I knew I wanted to engage more deeply with my work and to give being a business owner a try. So I left my job. At the time, it was like taking a 90% pay cut. People thought I was nuts, like I'd lost my mind, but they weren't in my head. I've learned a lot about this whole process that you really need to tune out what society expects of you sometimes. So although I left my job, I was well prepared and ready to leave it. And now instead of chasing money, I was chasing meaning. And while doing this, I also had to figure out a way to make money along the way. My struggle for meaning led me to a situation where now I need to figure out how to make money with just a laptop and my knowledge. And I went immediately from 12 grand a month to just about between 1 to 2,000 a month. And that hurts. There's just no way around it. And what people say is very true, that as of right now, I'd have way more money if I just stayed in my job the last 7 months. I've found that since quitting, I've been working way harder for way less money. And I've really thrust myself into a struggle, almost voluntarily. And sometimes I do really question that. It's like, why did I do this to myself? I was in a great situation. But that's not the full story. I had it so easy before. I could half-ass my work. I could continue to make my steady paycheck and work on stuff I didn't really care about and then go home. But that's the problem. It was too easy. That type of life was just not making me happy anymore. It was too comfortable. And since leaving, I've had to be in full grind mode. And I'd probably call it on average, 50 plus hours per week, just working on code, working on video ideas, editing, consults, talking with the community here on YouTube. And it's been amazing. I've become hungry again. It feels less like work because I own my days, I own my projects, and now I have more incentive to work. Because if I work and I do well and I do a good job, I get paid more. And I also get to choose what I work on, and that's a big deal to me. I feel like a dog that has to hunt for its next meal. In my head, it's just like, okay, I need to make 3 grand this month using my knowledge. How can I do that? Okay, let's call this person. Let's pitch this idea to this person. Let's make this video. And it's like my mind started exploding with ideas since quitting. It's just freed up so much mental capacity. And I've just been trying things, and I've slowly started figuring things out. And last month was my first month right. I made more money than I spent. And now we're in the 4 to 5 grand a month range. Totally self-employed, totally stuff I want to work on. And that's amazing to me. I'm starting to see more of my vision for my life as I'm struggling more. So yeah, sure, I'm making less money, but I'm building. I wasn't building before. The freedom, the flexibility, the ability to try out new ideas and own the outcomes of your projects, these are all huge upsides to what I'm doing despite less money. I don't have to ask anyone for time off. I can go to whatever country I want to, whenever I want to. And now I'm starting to find a way to make, decent money again. So sure, I'm not making as much as I was before, but who cares if I took a pay cut? I was taking a happiness cut in the situation I was in before, which is much more damaging. And in this new job, if you could even call it that, I own the projects I do, and one of my part-time jobs is literally making YouTube videos about topics that I like talking about while playing old Call of Duty video games. That's amazing to me. How can it get better than that? And what if this does work out and my income potential is limitless? Maybe it's a big short-term hit, which it definitely is, but this could be for a huge lifelong gain. I'll have this YouTube forever. I'm picking up better technology and I'm learning about AI aggressively and pursuing the learning on a daily basis. And this is going to compound a lot in the next 5 years. And there's a chance it actually ends up being a wise financial decision if we look in a 5-10 year window. I don't think I was ever going to make 300 grand per year, what I was doing before, but could I do it, as self-employed? I can see a path there. There's one thing I can guarantee is that if I never took this risk, my YouTube would have likely died out as it was becoming really difficult to balance my 9 to 5 with quality videos. I wouldn't be with the girl of my dreams. I'd be in the same old situation I was in before, refreshing my investment portfolio, wondering when I'd be able to retire. So yeah, I struggle to find meaning sometimes, and that's okay. It's led me to some cool things. And your 20s are all about, putting yourself in a variety of situations and just seeing what sticks with you. I left my comfortable life. I left the cushy money, the good paycheck, and I walked straight into the unknown. But in that chaos, I'm starting to find meaning again. This is something I want. A lot of people say they want it, and it's like, do you really want this, or do you just say you want it? Like, I'm showing this through my actions. These are the actions of a guy who wants it. You've seen me be consistent. You've seen me pour my passion into these videos, and you really have to take steps to make these types of things happen. It's not just going to happen to you. So if you're someone who's felt that same emptiness that I did, you're not alone. A lot of people feel this way, and that's part of my journey here, is I'm showing you like what this can look like just from a realistic perspective. I'm not going to sit here and say it's perfect all the time, because it's not. And I don't have it all figured out yet, but I'm finally building my life and I'm not living someone else's. So that was kind of a brain dump, but I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for being with me on a part of this journey. We're just getting started. I firmly believe that, and we're going to keep this thing rolling. So thanks, everyone. We'll catch you in the next one.